The walls of Montecito shook the moment the school secret slipped out, because this was never supposed to reach the public, never supposed to leave the protected circle, never supposed to become the one detail that could crack the carefully polished image Prince Harry and Meghan fought so hard to build. But now the whispers are louder than ever, the questions sharper than ever, and inside that mansion, they say Prince Harry is no longer calm. They say he broke down. They say this one hit differently.
She's been after people who are extraordinarily rich for quite a long time now. And
as ever, we know, launched in April of last year, and Meghan started off with raspberry spread, the flower sprinkles.
Buckingham Palace has confirmed that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex will not be returning as working members of the royal.
She was a fraud, what I can see from the beginning, who was just using opportunities to advance herself. Her brand wasn't one built on substance.
Is lack of support and lack of understanding.
Harry says they wanted to step back, not step down.
For years, the children remained the most protected part of the Sussex empire. No ordinary glimpses, no routine family openness, no harmless little details that most public figures casually allow. Everything around Archie and Lilibet was controlled, measured, delayed, filtered. That strategy worked for a while. It created mystery. It created sympathy. It created the impression that two parents were simply protecting innocent children from a brutal spotlight. But protection and secrecy are cousins that often get mistaken for each other, and now people are asking whether the line was crossed long ago. Because the new controversy is not about photos, not about birthdays, not about titles. It is about school, a subject so normal, so basic, so everyday that nobody expected it to become explosive. Yet that is exactly what happened when conflicting stories began circulating about where the children are being educated, who is involved, and whether the public version of family life matches the private reality at all.
he is frightened. I mean, he can be very angry with her, but then there are times when she really lets go.
At first, it sounded harmless. Some said elite private learning. Others said private tutors. Others insisted home education designed around security and privacy. Then came a different version: selective enrollment discussions, quiet withdrawals, concerns over visibility, demands for unusual arrangements, staff confidentiality agreements. Suddenly, one simple question split into 10 more. If everything is stable, why so many changing narratives? If everything is ordinary, why does nothing sound ordinary? And that is when people close to the wider royal orbit allegedly began murmuring that Harry was deeply unsettled by the attention. Not angry at strangers, not furious at media. Unsettled because this story cut straight into something personal: the children. Whatever battles he has fought before, whatever lawsuits he launched, whatever interviews he gave, this was different territory. This was fatherhood under scrutiny. Sources now whisper that Harry believed California offered a clean slate, space, freedom, a softer upbringing away from palace rules. But reality has a cruel habit of arriving uninvited. Children grow, education begins, choices must be made, and every choice reveals priorities: isolation or integration, privacy or normality, control or community. You cannot hide those decisions forever.
This is talking about Harry and the two kids. You know, she doesn't really have one, but then her mother's around.
Those who watch body language notice something else in recent appearances: the smile that lands late, the eyes that seem tired, the strange tension when family topics arise. Nothing proves anything on its own, but patterns matter, and patterns are what keep this story alive. Because insiders claim the real disagreement is not school itself, but philosophy. Harry, shaped by institutions, tradition, structure, discipline. Meghan, shaped by independence, image, flexibility, personal narrative. Two very different childhood maps trying to design one future for two children. That clash may have been manageable in private, but once the outside world started asking questions, every private disagreement suddenly became heavier. Then came the rumor that truly sent the internet spinning: that a prestigious school option became complicated after concerns over media frenzy, status sensitivity, and parental conditions. No official confirmation, no public statement. Just enough smoke to make people stare at the horizon for fire.
Charges, but Prince Harry is among 7 high-profile claimants, including Sir Elton John and Liz Hurley, alleging.
And if that rumor is even partly true, it creates a brutal problem, because the brand sold for years was freedom, ease, peace, authenticity. But difficult school negotiations, unusual demands, rotating stories, and rising pressure paint a very different picture: one of stress, management, and constant image defense. People say Harry has has reached the stage many runaways reach. The moment you realize leaving one system does not free you from systems. It simply gives you new ones. Tuition systems, social systems, reputation systems, security systems, parenting systems. California did not erase pressure. It redesigned it. Meanwhile, the palace remains publicly silent, and silence from institutions often says more than speeches. No comments, no reactions, no rescue, just distance. That distance reportedly weighs heavily on Harry whenever milestones involving the children appear. Birthdays, schooling, traditions, cousins growing up oceans away, grandparents aging while time moves with no permission asked. And then comes the emotional center of this whole scandal. If the children are being raised in extreme privacy, what happens when they become old enough to ask why? Why no shared memories with cousins? Why no ordinary school photos like friends have? Why so many headlines about choices they never made? Why did everyone know our names but no one knew our lives? That question, they say, is what shattered Harry behind closed doors. Not gossip, not headlines, consequences. Because beneath every glamorous narrative sits an ordinary family problem. Two parents trying to do the right thing while carrying old wounds into new decisions. Harry carries trauma from exposure. Meghan carries distrust from judgment. Together they built walls. But children do not grow best inside walls forever. They eventually need gates. Now the school secret has exposed more than an enrollment mystery. It has exposed the pressure inside the marriage, the contradictions inside the brand, and the painful truth that protecting children and controlling a story are not always the same act. And those close to the situation say Harry knows it. They say he looked at how far things have drifted, how complicated normal life has become, how even school became scandal, and for the first time in a long time, he broke down. Because when school becomes a secret, the real issue is never school. The most dangerous moment in any carefully managed public life is not when enemies attack from outside. It is when ordinary life begins exposing cracks from within. That is why this school story has rattled Harry so deeply. Not because of one rumor, not because of one leaked detail, not because strangers online started speculating again, but because education is supposed to be simple. It is supposed to be one of the few normal milestones untouched by status, money, titles, or feuds. Yet even here, even in this sacred space where children should simply learn, play, grow, and come home with paint on their sleeves and stories in their pockets, controversy found them. And when controversy follows you into the classroom, you start realizing it was never outside the gates at all. It was in the luggage you carried with you. People close to celebrity circles whisper that Harry has become increasingly reflective in recent months. The louder the headlines get, the quieter he reportedly becomes. That is often the sign of a man doing mathematics in his own head. What did I trade? What did I gain? What did I protect? What did I lose? Because the dream sold to the world was simple. Escape pressure, build peace, raise children differently. But dreams become invoices when life starts charging interest. And now the bill seems to be arriving through something as ordinary as school forms, parent meetings, social circles, and the impossible question of how to raise private children whose names are globally famous. Some claim Harry wanted a balance he could never articulate clearly. Enough privacy to heal, enough visibility to remain relevant, enough distance from royalty to feel free, enough connection to keep royal value alive. But balance built on contradiction eventually tips. The children became the center of that contradiction, shielded from view yet central to branding, kept unseen yet endlessly discussed, protected from tradition yet tied to titles, hidden from cameras yet impossible to separate from headlines. That is not a child's burden to carry, but children often inherit the burdens adults rename as choices. Then came another whisper spreading through entertainment and society circles alike that certain families in elite environments hesitate when they sense permanent media orbit. It does not matter whether it is fair. It does not matter whether it is kind. Powerful people often choose convenience over principle. If classmates bring paparazzi concerns, if school events become tabloid bait, if every parent gathering risks becoming international gossip, doors can quietly narrow. Nobody says no loudly. They simply become unavailable politely. If Harry has seen even a glimpse of that reality, it would cut deeper than any newspaper column ever could, because lawsuits can fight papers, statements can fight narratives, publicists can fight trends, but they cannot force normal acceptance. independence. They cannot purchase effortless belonging. They cannot manufacture the ease of children entering a community untouched by adult drama. And Harry, raised inside one of the most recognized institutions on earth, would understand the cruelty of that better than most. There are also whispers that the home itself has changed, not physically perhaps, but emotionally. Mansions amplify silence. Large rooms carry tension longer. Corridors remember slammed doors. Kitchens hear late-night arguments. Gardens witness lonely walks. When two people are under pressure, square footage does not save them. It only gives pain more places to hide. Some say discussions about the children's future have become sharper, more frequent, harder to postpone. Schooling means schedules. Schedules mean roots. Roots mean deciding where life truly is. California fantasy or long-term reality. American independence or some eventual bridge back to Britain. That is not just a parenting question. That is an identity war dressed as logistics. And then there is the emotional ghost nobody mentions enough. Cousins growing up separately. While other royal children build memories naturally through holidays, ceremonies, awkward family lunches, sibling chaos, and shared photographs, Archie and Lilibet's childhood story is described mostly through statements and speculation. One day children notice absence more than presence. One day they ask names they have heard but barely know. And one day they wonder why distance existed when airplanes did not stop working. Those future questions may be haunting Harry already. Observers say his tears, whether literal or emotional collapse, likely came from recognition. Recognition that time moves fast when children are small. Recognition that years framed as temporary become permanent quietly. Recognition that every delayed reconciliation becomes harder because children keep aging while adults keep arguing. Recognition that a father can win every battle and still lose moments he can never buy back. Meanwhile, Meghan, according to rumor mills that never sleep, remains focused on control, structure, and long-game positioning. Whether fair or unfair, that is the perception. And perception matters because perception shapes sympathy. If Harry appears emotional while Meghan appears strategic, audiences instantly assign roles. The wounded prince, the calculating planner. Reality may be far more complex, but public mythology rarely waits for nuance. It feeds on contrast, and contrast is exactly what this school scandal delivered. The tragedy here is that schools should have introduced joy. Tiny uniforms, nervous first days, art projects on refrigerators, names of new friends repeated at dinner, lunchboxes forgotten in cars, sleepy mornings, proud parent smiles. Instead, it reportedly introduced panic, secrecy, negotiations, and public suspicion. Something beautiful became another battlefield. That alone could break any parent who once believed leaving everything behind would simplify life. And let us speak the uncomfortable truth nobody in glossy interviews says aloud: children do not remain symbols forever. They become people. They will read headlines. They will hear jokes. They will search names online. They will compare their childhood to others. They will ask why some memories exist only as rumors. They will want answers from the two people who made every decision for them. That future courtroom of family truth has no judge, no lawyers, no PR team, no edited documentary soundtrack, only children asking parents direct questions. Many powerful adults fear that courtroom most. So if Harry truly broke down, perhaps it was not weakness at all. Perhaps it was the first honest response in years. Honest grief for simplicity lost. Honest fear for children growing inside narratives they did not choose. Honest regret that freedom without peace is just relocation. Honest understanding that protecting children requires more than walls, more than lawsuits, more than statements, more than curated silence. Now the world watches for the next move. Will there be a sudden happy family photo to soften the noise, a new charitable appearance to redirect attention, a carefully sourced story praising their parenting, a hint of reconciliation with the royal side, or total silence again, the oldest strategy in the Montecito handbook? But some stories do not die because no one comments. Some stories grow in silence because silence becomes fertilizer. And this one has roots now. The school's secret exposed something far larger than enrollment details. It exposed a family still trying to outrun pain while raising children inside its shadow. Harry may wipe his eyes. Public smiles may return. Statements may be polished. Gates may stay closed. But once ordinary life starts revealing extraordinary cracks, there is no easy way back to pretending everything is fine. Because when even school becomes scandal, the lesson has already begun.